Hey Pet Nation, and Happy New Year. I have to apologize, this video is going to be long and there's going to be 3 versions of me in it. This version, I think a version in a green shirt and a version wearing a Henley. It's because this video has been one of my most personal videos ever. It explains the following. It explains why you haven't really seen a lot of YouTube videos from me lately. It explains the struggles I had to deal with, and equally important, it talks about ways that I utilized that I hope will help anyone dealing with any sort of struggles get back to where I am. And I titled this Getting Back to Me. I have not been around making new videos, as you can see, maybe little tiny ones here and there, but things have been it's been interesting, to say the least. I really think COVID has really fucked everyone up in so many ways. And I think for myself, there was moments where things happened. Like this. And at this point in time, that was the moment where I mentally had lost my confidence. And when I look at this, it's amazing because the bike itself weighs about 470 pounds-ish, right? And so, which is pretty heavy, but there's system of getting that, but you've got to listen to my breathing there. Insane. And it's not the struggle to get the bike up. It's the mental struggle of what just took place and what my fears are. The fear of loss of control, I guess, is what it's dealing with, and how to get that back and literally get back on that bike and ride. Riding to me is a risk assessment, so let me get that out of the way first and foremost. Prior to even considering purchasing a motorcycle, I would take a safety course. And in that course, there was a range of individuals older than me and younger. And the youngest kid was this 17, 18-year-old kid who came from a family of riders who had a Ninja waiting for him should he pass this course. And he was good. And I was a novice. And so I took it upon myself, because I'm not competitive in nature, that I wanted to beat this kid. So I worked hard. And there's a lot to say about the practical versus the textbook parts. Textbook part was easy. Practical part was the tough thing. So I actually beat this kid at the end. And to me, I went out and immediately bought a bike. So I was very confident on the bike. Like I was confident coming out of vet school. I was confident about what I could do. I entered the veterinary profession late. I had little practical experience, but I came out very confident about what I can do. And so losing this confidence was something that just floored me. So it all kind of started, I guess, several months ago. And I realized that, like everything, it's multifactorial. So using my vet brain, I started diagnosing, thinking about what was. And I came up with the causative agents, because everything is multifactorial. So the causative agents at that time in my life were the following. I was struggling with COVID, as everyone was, and we're dealing with things like this.
Go to hell. Go to hell. Go to hell.
So that literally took place on my front door. I never saw that pet, never laid hands on that pet, but that is not uncommon. These weird situations are more commonplace, and a lot of what we're all dealing with is, I call it PTSD of COVID. You're dealing with the change in the veterinary industry of this plethora of pets needing to be seen, this whole aspect of team members leaving the profession. And for me, it was no different. I was losing 2 key team members. One of them, a phenomenal tech that was moving down south. And thank God she comes back and helps me when she can. Phenomenal tech. And you don't realize what you lose until you lose them. Secondly, I lost a phenomenal tech tech slash admin person who had literally helped develop the practice, who is the credit and sole inspiration for our CAT exam room. Just phenomenal. And you've got both of these individuals leaving roughly at the same time. The other thing is you have, of the remainder team, a toxic employee. And anyone who's dealt with a toxic employee in any sort of business can realize that one toxic employee can just change the whole landscape of everything. The remainder of the team were dedicated but not super highly skilled on part of the team. And so you're dealing with that. Additionally, what I was dealing with was like one of three brothers that two of my brothers had health concerns that were partially genetic, familial, and it really weighed upon me at the time. Would I be part of that as well? And so I do have some of those aspects, but dealing with getting medical workups and everything to deal with the rest was also part of that stress. And I think the icing on the cake for me was at the same time my mom died. So my biggest concern was patient care, as is always for any sort of vet practice. So I spent my entire energy making sure that I kept patient care at number one. And it just took away from me in so many different ways. From time, from mental fatigue, physical fatigue, everything. And I didn't realize the extent until that motorcycle issue happened. We've got a diagnosis, and now we need a treatment plan. How do you deal with the death of your mom? Well, I found that I think my brothers and I, we actually came up with the same sort of resolution. You know, we all said our own eulogy for my mom at her funeral. And it was completely diverse. 3 different individuals giving 3 different remembrance of things and everything else about their mother. And to me, that was part of a healing process. And part of that was I realized that my mom brought 2 things to my life. Number 1 was a sense of humor. And number 2 was the desire, the love of animals, and that initial spark to become a veterinarian. And so that really buoyed me and helped me. So how do we go through a treatment plan for the issues at hand? Well, it's pretty easy with the first couple. Toxicity really has no place in the work environment. And when you're dealing with someone who questions your leadership and your protocols, you have to start taking the mindset about caring what others think would be the biggest jail anyone can put themselves in. So you can't really deal with that, but you have to. The most important thing is to get rid of the toxic person. The other issue about establishing new team members in the veterinary profession, that is a struggle we're dealing with. Fortunately, I've actually had a few come by, so it is very buoying and makes me feel much more confident in that. And I came up with basically 4 main things that helped me through this. Number 1, working out and eating healthy. I already had practiced a fair amount of this, but lately I've been working out like crazy, and I got to the point where now, I think Sylvester Stallone said, yeah, becomes you get addicted to it. So, I don't know, that was not a very good, yo, Adrian, yo. No, that was terrible. So, working out pretty hard and eating well. I actually did a video for Vet Girl about eating well in the workplace. And so I actually took that to the next level for myself personally. And that's really helped a lot. Actually, 1, 2, 3, there's 5 things, people. 5 things. Number 2, play. And by play, I mean do something fun. I'm very fortunate. I've got a lot of interests, a lot of hobbies. You got to develop these. But play can also be just playing in the sun and sand. Playing with your pet and the sun family in the sun and sand. That's awesome. Play for me is hitting the drum kit. Or play for me is doing things well outside of everything else. The other thing, and I have to credit Marie Holloway-Chuck, she is a wellness specialist. She's a criticalist, an internal emergency and critical care specialist by training, but she is now a wellness guru. And I've done numerous videos with her. Check them out on my channel. And I take a lot of her advice. So, Marie, I've been listening to you, seriously. So practicing a lot of self-care, so to speak. One example is getting tech out of the bedroom. My phone and my watch charge down here on my desk. They are nowhere in the bedroom. The bedroom, people, is reserved for two things: sleeping and reading. Get your mind out of the gutter. Sleeping and reading, not watching TV. The other thing I do is I meditate. And if you can't really meditate, then even just doing the breathing process, the whole breathing in, holding it, breathing out, and that alone, like I'll even do this in the workplace. If I have to be around something, but I feel a moment of anxiety and stress coming on, I will just do the simple breathing exercise, and that really that alone helps calm you down. But if you can get into sort of mindfulness, meditation, that is awesome. It'll help you like crazy. Set goals. What are we on? Number 4 now? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 5. Wait a sec. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't count. I'm just getting over COVID. That is not an excuse, but I'm going to use it. Number 5, setting goals. So goal setting is very important because it helps guide you, it helps you focus, and it helps continue momentum in life. And for me, it's a matter of measuring where I'm at and how can I manage where I'm at if I don't have a measure. So it just helps me just get there. And so I think the more modern term is visualization board. You should look that up and try it, because you can then visualize what you want to do. So setting goals like, for example, I want a planche. Look that up. I'm working towards that. It's a physical goal. But mainly, I want to get back confidence on that bike, right? That's what this whole video is about, is establishing my confidence. So a lot of ways of doing that is called visualization. It's something it's not the hokey thing. It's a technique that many athletes and people use to increase their performance and excel. And there's studies that have been done. There's studies done on these kids who would visualize, where it's imagining in real time what your goal is. And you imagine the sensations use all your senses to do so, and it establishes an emotion in you. And it's I guess the best analogy is a lot of those athletes actually create that line when they're riding. They set the goal on technique. They run through it in their mind. And by doing so, the studies have shown that it increased performance with kids in sports. It actually increased muscle building, and people who visualized for 3 months prior to working out actually built more muscle than those who did not. So it creates this image. So for me, it was visualizing being on that bike and the joy and emotions that accompanied that. Clearly, I had to work at that. I had to physically get back on that bike, and I spent a lot of time just physically just being in the garage, just balancing and thinking and sitting on that bike and visualizing. And lastly, for me personally, one of the most important things, and I find that this is the thing that elevates me to huge levels, is when you surround yourself with people that empower you, they elevate you, and they don't have to physically say something. It's just being in their presence. I was at a conference where I just sat there and I just soaked in the experience and the knowledge. I was surrounded by these big players in my industry, very successful individuals, and just sitting there and listening to them, having lunch with someone who's gone through what you've gone through, I always tell the young ones that getting a mentor is huge. I had lunch with the former owner of Red Bank Vet Hospital. Just having a lunch with him, the advice he gave me in a 20-minute period was absolutely amazing. And you can just sit there and just listen. But every one of these people have gone through similar struggles, and they overcame that hurdle. And they may have done it in a completely different way, but then that's mind-opening in itself, isn't it? So just surround yourselves by these individuals. I'm buoyed. I love people who are gracious, who are giving, who are successful and honest. And these are the people that just, they give. And I love it. And I hope by this, I'm giving to you. So do that. Find someone that you really respect and appreciate, and they can guide you through life. Because life's a sine wave, people. Every day, our life does this. Every week, our life does this. You can make this analogy to the vet clinic. A day could go like this at a vet clinic. A week could go like this. A month could go like this. A year does this. So you got to ride that wave. So I hope this clarifies things for you. I've really missed this. This is one of my joys and passions. And I hope it can actually help some of you that have gone through what I do. But in the end, I'm back. I'm back, baby. I'm back. I'm better than ever, physically, emotionally, mentally. I'm in a good place. And the beauty about regaining confidence, the beauty about being comfortable with yourself, is that energy that you previously took on just trying to manage self can now be put into doing other things. So patient care is better than ever. I always tell people, life is about people. Business is about people. It's the people. It's interacting with people. So my interactions are better than ever. My ability to deal with certain situations, certain people is better than ever. And this change and the changes I've done and the steps and processes I've done is just going to empower me and keep me healthy, physically, mentally, career-wise for many years to come. And you always have to have a co-pilot, because they are, in my opinion, they are the best co-pilot in the world. So remember, everyone, love your pet like they love you. Love yourself like your pet loves you. And have a great year.